Alright then, today I thought I would do a quick review of Quake Champions. It's the latest in the Quake series, and I've managed to get a beta key, and the NDA just went up, so I thought I'd throw in my 2 cents and sort of briefly summarise a couple of points. First things first, I should say that I have played only a little bit of Quake in the past. I was quite into it, but never really serious. Played a bit of Pro Modern, CPMA or whatever they were called, and really enjoyed them. But unfortunately, I was a bit late to the party when it came to them, so I haven't got a ton of experience with the Quake series to back my knowledge. But I suppose first things first, as you can see, I've got some gameplay going in the background, just of a team deathmatch game. So far I've played maybe an hour and a half total, and unlocked 3 of the classes as such, which I suppose is probably a good point to start. That this is a bit different in the way the business model is running, and also the way the gameplay is compared to old days. So now there's, I think they're saying it's going to be free to play, but with microtransactions, and I don't really like the interface that much at this stage. It seems a little bit overly complicated for Quake, which in my opinion was always this beautifully simple, yet extremely high skill ceiling game. That being said, aspects of it I do like a little bit, but I'm not a big fan of them choosing to go down the class-based shooter theme that I think everyone's doing to death at the moment. And I might be a bit biased just because of my history in Team Fortress 2, but you know, I think that there's games out there that do it really well, and I think it's kind of hard to compete with them, especially when the market's so oversaturated at the moment. That being said, there isn't huge differences in the classes or characters as such in Quake Champions. Basically you have, I suppose, an ability that each class has, whether that's going invisible or spewing like toxic goo, or a teleport or whatever. And they're not too, I don't feel like they're hugely different necessarily to the degree that we all expected. That being said, the character health and armor and etc is slightly varied as well, depending on who you're playing. So you know, it is a little bit classy, which I personally am not a big fan of. I think some people will like it. It might infuriate some other people, I suppose. Which kind of brings me back to the point that, is it like the old Quake games? Which I know I've kind of recapping a lot of points here and waffling, so I'll try not to. But I think it is in many ways. It feels like Quake. It looks like Quake, but I don't know if there's many aspects of it that I actually think have been particularly well upgraded or changed. It feels very similar in many ways, but in other ways I'm kind of like, well, why release a new game if it's just going to be exactly the same and not feel sort of like an updated version of it? And to be honest, after playing it, I kind of just wanted to go back and play some of the old Quakes for a little bit, because I think I actually did find them more enjoyable. That being said, I think there will be a bit of a divide. Some people may love this, some people may not, and will still prefer things like Quake Live and that kind of thing. But yeah, my initial issue, and I will link my, I might even upload it actually. I did stream it for a little bit, and I had it on settings that I think were a bit too high for my computer, which isn't very Quakey in my opinion to be too hard to run, but it kind of, yeah, I was running into some frame issues and it felt a little bit poorly optimized, so I had to turn my graphics right back, and eventually it ran quite smoothly, but it did take a little bit of fiddling to get that right, which I suppose fair enough. My computer's not top of the line anymore, like it's quite a nice computer, but I think there will be a lot of people that maybe have to run this on very low settings to kind of get the benefit that they want. But for a lot of the Quake community, that's what people run it on anyway, so it'll be no different to what they like, I suppose. Now, do I think that it's as fast paced? I don't know. I never really mastered the art of all the sort of movement stuff in the old Quakes. I wasn't terrible, but I definitely wasn't the best, and this does feel a little bit slower to me, and a bit clunkier with your movement. But whether that's just because I'm new and I'm not used to it and I haven't sort of found out the little hints and tips that people will start sharing about how to really maximize your capacity to move efficiently, we'll wait and see. Now, realistically, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Do I think I'll reopen it and play it more? Maybe. Will people come flocking towards it from all the other class-based shooters on the market at the moment? I don't think so. I don't think that this will necessarily take much market off of the communities that are still going. I'd be surprised even really if it took much community away from the current Quake community. But I suppose we'll wait and see. As I say, I'm no Quake expert and I'm not particularly involved with that side of the esports community to see whether this is kind of what they've been wanting for a while. Do I think that it will grow and potentially be interesting? Yeah. And did I enjoy playing it? Yeah. But I will follow it from a distance, I think. I'm not going to rush out and pack another few hours into it anytime soon. I think the 1.5 or 2 hours that I have played so far is enough for me at this stage, which, I don't know, I was kind of hopeful that I might want a little bit more from it, but you know, that's okay. At the end of the day, I don't have as much time to game as I maybe used to do with work and that kind of thing, so I'll definitely be sticking with TF2 as far as my class-based shooters go at the moment. And yeah, like I think it'll probably have a community for a while, and if they keep working on it hard, it might go somewhere. But I don't know whether we're going to see a real return to the glory days of Quake as such a big esport. Relatively big, I suppose, for its time period. It was one of the biggest. So I don't see this killing off anything anytime soon. But I'm going to stop talking now because realistically, I had like a handful of notes that I was going to talk about, and now I just feel like I've blabbed for a long time about potentially unrelated stuff. All in all, if you can get a beta key, go for it. If I get my hands on any, I'll try and do a giveaway to anyone that's interested. Because I think for people that really love Quake and have been waiting for a new version, yeah, it might be exactly what you want for. And I'd love to hear what other people think of the beta so far. I suppose that is something definitely worth mentioning. Is this is still early beta, and you know, I think there will be a few changes before full release, and potentially I might change my tune. And yeah, I suppose to close off, yeah, I don't mean to necessarily talk about only negatives, because I did actually quite enjoy, particularly Team Deathmatch. Wasn't such a fan of just Deathmatch because I got shat on, and there are new game modes coming, so they might appeal much more. There was one that I haven't tried yet, that I think was a bit more team based, where you have to capture points and that kind of thing. But again, that's not necessarily what in my head I remember Quake as, so we'll wait and see. Anyway, but thank you very, very much for watching. I'll link my stream down below. I've started streaming a little bit. And there's some gameplay from sort of a full match or two that I might upload as well. But yeah, thanks for watching. Peace out.